so unfair if we don't read your comments on the DJ's dropping his beats. This is by far my favorite. That's why I put it there. A la boss to DJ Tisco International. Hashtag GTV Breakfast. That's the hashtag we like to see. Of course, we are all enjoying the vibe and others are enjoying the Val. So Val, I like your moves behind the DJ. Awesome. Latabi, of course, she's sending us. Mabel is asking you a question. Oh, wow. Why dancing behind the DJ? Let's see all your moves. At least, TGIF. Valerie, so maybe you come back when the DJ performs next and you tell us why you're hiding behind the DJ. We are going to be talking to our lawyer who is already seated, and he's going to help us understand property sharing in Wales. CAF and Lawyer Empower are seated, and they will start the conversation now.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Thelma. Thank you, DJ Tisco International. Follow them all on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. It's 912. The WhatsApp number is 055-556-1034. This is going to be like a town hall. While they are doing 11 town halls, we are doing town halls on property sharing under Wales. And my guest is Mr. Maurice Kwabena Ampal of Heritage Law Firm. He's a lawyer, and he made our conversation very real and very interesting last week. And they say, if it's nice, you play it twice, man. So we brought him back to be with us. Good to have you here, Maurice.
Thank you.
Awesome. So one of the most important, and if not the last decisions you make regarding your life, your belongings, your money, your property, is that document which is called a will. Now, for a lot of people, even the thought of writing a will or preparing for that stuff that will go on after they've passed is a very distressing thing. And because it makes them uncomfortable about facing the truth that one day everybody in this room, everybody who is watching or listening will be no more. That's just the way life is. So people tend to procrastinate and delay. I'll do it tomorrow doesn't come. Or tomorrow comes and you're not there, and then the division of your property and your belongings becomes a war amongst those you've left behind. So if you want to have some power over how property is shared when you're no longer there, you want to be having a conversation that we're having right now. So we're looking at property sharing under wills. And so Maurice will be answering all your questions, okay? 055-556-1034. Let's go straight into business. Few questions, lots of responses. So who has legal rights to my property after I die?
I think that we must all understand that the right to own personal property is guaranteed by our Constitution. I refer you to Article 18 of our Constitution, 1992 Constitution. Everybody has the right to own a property. If you purchase a property, if it's a gift, if you are declared the legal owner of a property by a court of law, or you acquire it through lawful means, then in law you have the right to dispose of those property. So therefore, in law, anybody who is acquiring property, it can be movable or unmovable. Movable properties are like television. It can be your car. They move, and then the immovable ones are the permanent ones that you can see physically on the land and any property. Stores, good. So you have the right to dispose of your property. Also, your money is part of your property. So you have the right also to distribute who gets what from your money. Also, there are certain properties you may not know that you are entitled to until you die. Because people keeps also making will, and they are giving you, they are disposing of their property. You are a beneficiary, but you will not be aware. So there are some properties, maybe before you die, you are litigating those properties in court, and then the court grant you the judgment. It goes to your favor after you are gone. Okay. So in sharing property, you are looking at the ones that you acquire them whilst you are alive, and the ones that you'll be entitled after you are gone. And it is the owner. There's a law we say that the one who can give is the one who owns. You cannot give what you don't have.
Indeed.
Therefore, in law, it is only what you have is what you can give, and you have the sole right, subject to certain limitations. I always say that you don't have absolute right to do everything under the sun. Too much freedom can be abused.
Can I give all my property to my dog?
is an irresponsible way of disposing of your property. The dog, and then you should not have decided to marry. Also, you should not have decided to have children. Then make sure that you kill your dad and mom so that when you are giving to the dog. But how can your mom be alive? And how can your children be alive who are below the age of 18? And how can your wife, spouse be alive? And then you dispose all your property to the dog. Who take responsibility of your wife and your children and your dependent while you are gone? The state is not ready to do that. So, therefore, the law will step in under Section 13 of the Wills Act, and it will reverse some of your decisions. You will give reasonable provision to your wife under Article 22 of the Constitution. Your wife will benefit, your husband will benefit, whether you make a will or not. There are some people who are likely to benefit from the estate. That's your wife, your children, and then your relative, as well as your mom or dad if they are alive.
Does this relate to the priority of succession? Who gets what, and who is number one in terms of what they get from your estate? Who is number two? Who is number three? Give us a sense of
when
that.
It comes to priority of succession, the law makes provision under the Administrative of State Acts that the number one is your spouse. Because she has a bigger role to play in terms of the acquisition of property.
What if you died a bachelor or a spinster?
No, then your children. So it starts with your wife first in the list of priority.
Okay.
Wife or your let's put it the spouse.
Okay.
So your wife or your husband first, then followed by your children.
Okay.
Then followed by the parents.
So that if you died without a spouse or children, who gets
then your parents, if they are alive.
Okay.
Then lastly your family.
Okay, so if you died without a spouse, children, and parents,
then your family.
After the family, they would be
there.
Even if there's one person.
Now, can you imagine?
But if there was no family, there's no family,
then it goes to the state and then it gives charity. Because you have made property and then the charity must benefit. It's like church.
Okay.
When you decide not to continue with your church, you don't owe the church. Therefore, you give the church to another church that has similar visions and mission.
What about if you were living with somebody in concubinage, not married, and you died?
The law as at now does not recognize concubine relationship. In fact, concubine relationship is a risky relationship. You decide to go and see this man, you fall in love. Everything that you are doing is risky. And at times, it's very interesting when you go and cohabit with a man who has not customarily gone through the process of making sure that you are the legitimate wife. You are in a relationship. The relationship is not recognized by law, although there are certain rights that the law confers on you. So you can acquire properties in a concubine relationship. But the properties that you are acquiring, because the law does not give you certain privileges, you must make sure that you have evidence to everything you want to claim later. You see, whilst a wife need not to have evidence of whatever is contributing to get a share of the property. So, for example, under Article 22 of the United States Constitution, it says that whether your wife contributes, whether your wife you make a will or you don't make a will, once you die, your spouse automatically get part of your estate. But then when it comes to concubine, the law does not make provision for concubine. In Panache, arrangement. What happens is that the two of you meet, you don't inform your parents, you don't go through the legal process, so you take risk. That's why when you are in a concubine relationship, make sure that in law, anything you are giving in that relationship, you document it. If you're a girl and you are giving that guy money, put it on paper.
You should write.
Yes,
I gave him 200
yes. You know, at times there are a lot of romance fraudsters in the system. Romance fraudsters are guys who normally want to take advantage of women. They try to make sure that the women fall deeply in love. And you know, when the woman falls in love, they lose control. Have you witnessed a woman who has fallen in love before?
I thought it was a man who lost control.
Hey, women's love is serious. Meanwhile, God has not given the responsibility to love us. So it's an abuse to love a man. So when you love a man, then you go the Jimmy way. So you realize that women love is crazy. That is where they do everything for the man. They give men money. They cook for them free. They chop the thing free. Everything is free when a woman is in love. When a woman is in love, everything you give the woman, it will give it back to you. Women love are crazy. Men, we are very reasonable in terms of loving. Men love with caution. But women, when they love, it's too much. Okay. So currently, we don't have a lot of women who are in love. A lot of women are not in love, to be frank. We destroy their love from the beginning by breaking their virginity and then bring them. The moment you dump the woman begins to learn the lessons. So now women are pretending to be in love. Okay. That is why they can cheat so easily. That is why they can allow 2-3 guys. They can take 2-3 guys at a time. So women love these days is no more.
So when they are crazily in love like that, they must be documenting everything that they are giving.
So make sure that once you are in a concubine relationship, and the Lord does not give you that privilege like a wife, make sure that every peso you are spending, put it in paper. So, for example, you are doing boyfriend-girlfriend, and you have decided to put your money together to buy land. Make sure that your name is on the woman. And then make sure that if you are building, you also go to the site for the masons and this thing to see you. And then if you are contributing, make sure that you put it on paper. Because when it comes to sharing the property, the rule of the game is evidence. The Supreme Court has decided that once you are a concubine and you want to take a share of any property that has been acquired in the concubine relationship, you need evidence. So, for example, you are dating this guy, the guy you have put up a building, but you are contributing directly or indirectly, but you are not documenting it. So the guy's name is on the indenture. The guy only go to the site, he gets everything. Then only for about 10 or 15 years, the relationship now ends. And then you go and say that, look, I've been with you for 50 years, therefore I own a share of that property. If the guy denies you and you go to court, the court will ask you, are you married to the man? You say no. Then please, how? Tell us how, when, and where did you contribute?
So there must be evidence.
Then you must produce evidence of receipts. The masons, you must call masons who see you contributing. You must. So if you go into a concubine relationship and you are in love, and the man says that, baby, we will be married later, so I'm using my money to build this house. So use your money to cook. You see, when women are cooking and they are buying tomatoes, they don't take receipts. You see, so at the end of the day, it will be very difficult to prove. So it is always important that when you are giving anything in a concubine relationship, document it. When you're helping the man, put it on paper. When your man, that boy asks you, oh baby, I need money to do business, say please, let me put it on paper. Mary, on the ABC day, gave this thing, so. You document it.
That's your backup.
Get evidence on messages.
Okay.
The only thing that you can get in that concubine relationship is when the man decides to promise you, to marry you, and you rely on the promise, and then the man is leaving you, you can sue the man for breach of promise. So all those men...
But would you have to have evidence of the promise? That
yes, definitely. Okay. All those men who are promising women by heart and deceiving women, the romance fraudsters, those who are chopping women money, the women, when they get the evidence, they can sue you for breach of promise.
We will take your messages on 055-556-1034. My guest is Mr. Morris Kobna Ampao. He's a lawyer, private lawyer with Heritage Law Firm. We're looking at property sharing under wills, and your messages will be coming through pretty soon to be read by Thelma. A couple of more quick questions. So imagine that you have a child with, so you are a concubine and you have children with this married man, and he dies. You don't have access to any of property, but the children, what happens to the children? Do they have a share?
You see, under the Children's Act, the interest of a child is so paramount that the law protects children. They are so innocent. So if you have a concubine relationship and then there's a child, the child interest is protected under the Children's Act, Section 7. The child, whether born during the marriage or out of wedlock, we don't care. Right. It's a child. Its interest, or the child's interest is protected. Therefore, children of the deceased are always guaranteed a share, a reasonable share.
Have you seen in your practice concubines making sure that whatever property the man gives them, they put it in the name of the children to be sure?
Yeah, I have one or two. You know, we have some people who are living as boyfriend and girlfriend as a child. Do everything in the name of the child. That is where they think that, look, this relationship can end at any time, and maybe the child is the one who will benefit. Therefore, I think that the best thing to do is to always look at the child. Okay. It's better for you to be giving properties to your children, but with caution. The caution is, don't let these children know
that you are doing something to them.
Jesus Christ, they'll kill you.
It's as simple as that.
Jesus Christ. You call your daughter and tell her that, oh, I've given my house to you. I've done this to you, I've done this to you, and your daughter is around 40, 50, 16 years, he's going to find love. The daughter will tell the boyfriend that my father owns all these things, has given me all these things. The boyfriend, if you are not careful, and is a romance fraudster, will deceive your daughter and tell your daughter that, look, all that your father has given you in the form of a will, it will only materialize, it will only be effective if your father dies. Therefore, let's push your father away and take over the property. So never. And then also when you tell the children that you have given your property to them, they will not work hard. Can you imagine I have about 7 houses and I have a lot of properties here and there, and I call my daughter and tell her that, oh, these are yours. My daughter will start fooling because she knows that, oh, look, all these things are. So keep those information away from the children.
But can you also give them the property while you're alive as a gift?
Yeah, definitely. You have the right to do 2 forms of gift. The first one is customary gift. When you are giving that gift, it's not documented. Therefore, what you need to do is you need a lot of publicity. You make sure that these gifts are given in the presence of some of the family members and then also neighbors. And then the child must therefore do what we call asida, so that at least it will be documented, it will be something that it will be in evidence. That's customary gift.
Okay.
Then we have the deed of gift. That is formalized gift. You write it like indenture, like transfer, conveyance. That one, you state that I, Maurice Ampao, of Heritage FM, I do hereby gift my house and my to my daughter because of the love I have for her. And then all those things, you put it in the paper, you sign it as an indenture, you go and stamp it at the land valuation, and then you register it, and then the interest is transferred to the child.
Okay.
So you can make a gift whilst you're alive.
Awesome. She's very much alive, and she is checking out your messages right now. Thelma, let it flow. 055-556-1034 number. What do we have? Let's take a couple.
So someone is asking if you can make a will and leave out extended family. So perhaps we'll touch on that. Okay. Good morning. This is Emmanuel from Akonsumbo. I've been following the discussion on the property sharing. I want to ask if it's proper for a wife to include her husband in her will. Okay. So last week, I think we touched a bit on this. And the lawyer said it was uncommon for women to make wills in our part of the world. So we'll get to Lawyer Ampao to answer a few more questions. As a taxi driver, if I see my girlfriend through university and she completes and decides to leave me saying I'm no longer her class, what can I do? Can I sue her or take her to my home? This one, I don't know how it has to do with wills, but is that something that's available for this? +233 is asking. Okay, I've read Emmanuel's question about wills. So here's one. Good morning. What about you're traditionally married to the man but not legally? So we are talking about types of marriages here in this question. So this is a long one. I'll get to it in a bit, but perhaps, lawyer, you can respond to some of the ones we've said now, and then we'll be back to navigate a few more.
What was the first one? I know we had traditional versus legal marriage,
yes.
Yep.
Women willing things to their husbands.
And then the one about, here's one, how will property inheritance be handled? Okay, so here's another one about a type of marriage. How will property inheritance be handled if the couple are married but not signed their marriage at the court? So it's not registered at the court of law.
All right.
Let me see.
Okay, let me take these ones.
Traditional, legal.
Okay. All right.
Women and men.
Yes.
And the taxi driver.
Yes.
Who is now no longer the university graduates class.
Okay, I don't know. He's still alive, so we'll put that one to the side for now. But traditional, legal, court marriage, which ones are applicable for
You see,
wills?
law, marriage, we don't care whether it's a traditional marriage, whether it's a ordinance marriage. All that you need to do is to go through the process so that the law recognizes your marriage as a marriage. So traditional marriage is recognized. It's a legal. So if you have not done wedding or you have not gone through the ordinance marriage, it's marriage. And then if you go to the Islamic marriage, it's marriage.
How about knocking? The first stage is knocking. And if I knock...
Knocking is not marriage. Knocking is the starting of the process. And
so
knocking is an intention to marry.
Okay, so it's suppose you and the woman are together, you've decided you're going to get married, you knock, you've got properties to get, the guy is making stuff, he's got property, he goes to knock, he dies.
When you go to knock, in law, what you are doing is that you are announcing legally your intention to marry the person.
So the person is no longer your spouse.
No, you have not gone through the process.
So no rights.
So your right will accrue if the person is alive and is now abandoning the relationship. That's why you can have evidence to go and sue the person for breach of promise to marry. But if there are properties that both of you have acquired, and there is an intention to marry, but it didn't materialize, then you have to go to court and prove your interest in the property.
Okay.
Because you are not still legally married.
Okay. Now, can women will stuff to their husbands?
Oh, it is their right to do so. I'm saying that the right to will is a guaranteed right by the law. But I'm saying that at times in this part of our world where women don't seem to acquire property, they look up to their husband as the one who is acquiring property, and then also they look up to their husband as the one who will die first. So if my husband is the one who died first, why should I make a will and mention my husband's name? That's why a lot of women think that their husbands will go first.
Okay.
So in making will, they take care of their children, and some of them their siblings and their family. Because if they believe in, unless the woman have this mindset that look, I'm sick, therefore I'm about to die. Like my situation. Surprisingly enough, my wife, I was shocked when he died because I didn't know that he would have done this. He gave everything to me.
Oh, wow.
Yes, even the various associations that he joined, when they asked, who should be your nurse of kin? Who should the money that will be given by the association? He said, give it to my husband. Not even a family, not a sister. So my wife mentioned me in his will, and every document that he got with the bank.
Was she a lawyer?
No, she's a ordinary seamstress. I can't marry the corporate woman. I don't like corporate.
Was she crazy in love with you?
No, I make sure that he doesn't fall too much deeply in love with me. I don't like women who are too much in love.
Okay.
When you are too much in love, you scared me. Yeah, because it's like when a woman is too much in love, he will harass you with the love. They have a way of they will die if you die, and then they will monitor you here and there.
You know
the little thing you do to them goes at them. So I want a balanced woman.
Okay.
You see, love me, but love yourself. And then look up to God.
Balance. How is jointly owned property shared?
Jointly owned property shared by the Constitution is shared equally among the parties. Under Section 22 of the Constitution. Under article, the Constitution, we use article, is the Act of Parliament that we use section. So under Article 22 of the Constitution, it says that property that are jointly acquired, you share it equally.
Okay. So if you have a property jointly owned by you and your wife, can you will your part of it away to somebody else?
Definitely. Once it's a joint property, your share, you can will it.
Okay.
That's why it's irresponsible on your part to will a whole house that you know that you are jointly owned by your wife, and you give everything. Some people did that mistakes. Currently, there are cases in court where a man dies and a family land, which the man has built on, he has willed it to the wife. So it means that land becomes the family property when you die. So you cannot will that what you don't have. Therefore, when you are going to will any property whatsoever, movable or immovable, make sure that it is your self-acquired property.
Okay.
Not family property, not stool property, not church property.
It must belong to you.
Not church property. And second, let me put a caution to all men of God, all pastors. The church that they have does not belong to them. So you dare not will anything to your children.
Who does the church belong to?
The church belongs to, it's an artificial person. He lives in law. The church belongs to the members as a whole. Is a corporate body. Therefore, it's separated from the founder and the church leaders. So the church operates differently in law from the founders. Therefore, all church leaders, including the founders, those who start up the church, are trustees.
So the church does not belong to them?
No. So you when you are going to register a church, you either go under the Trustees Act, so that the church hold the church in trust, meaning you are taking care of the church properties and the money and everything. That's why in Ghana here, because there is not too much education, there are men of God, founders of churches, who come and say that, look, I'm dead. Therefore, my church, my wife will take control, or I'll sack you from the church, and then I've taken the church band. People normally cease to be members of the church, or when they are leaving that church, they start taking the properties of those churches.
It's wrong.
It is wrong in law. If you fail to continue as a church, write to the registrar general, and the registrar general will give that church to another church with your similar vision. But you don't own the property. Good. So don't give church properties to church members, and they don't make will. And in your church, in your will, state that I'm the founder of the church. Therefore, if I die, I give the church to my wife. It's illegal. It's unconstitutional.
Illegal and unconstitutional. Your messages are not illegal. They are very, very, very much illegal. 055-556-1034. More questions on property sharing under wills. How do you claim property when a will, when you know that there's a will with your name in it?
When your name has been mentioned in a property that you own, or when somebody dies and then you realize that you have interest in the property.
How will you realize?
One, when the person doesn't make a will, those who realize that have interest will be the spouse, the children, the father and the mother if they are alive, and then the family. So definitely when somebody dies, these four people have interest in the property. And then those whose name have been mentioned in the will as beneficiary. But there is always a caveat. When you are making a will, the third paragraph, the one who is making a will, the testator, always come out to say that before you share any of my properties, share my money, first make sure that you've paid all my debt and funeral and testamentary expenses.
Okay.
So before you go and benefit from any will, the executor, the one who is to ensure that your will is implemented or takes effect, must make sure that you pay all debts. So at times you may have a situation whereby I make a will, I give my house to my wife, but I'm owing at the bank. And maybe after the funeral, there's so much to be paid.
The bank will come.
The bank and then the head of the family have to make sure that that money is settled. So we can sell the house that I've even given to you. So you can only benefit from a will when the funeral expenses and testamentary expenses has been paid and debt.
Okay.
Therefore, make sure that after the death of a person, pray that that person doesn't owe.
Good.
And then number two, that person's funeral expenses was managed in such a way that there's no matum debt. Then you go in for the property and use two ways. You go and apply for letter of administration so that the court will get an administrator who will then give you what is due you, and then you also go and do what is called probate.
How do you apply for letters of administration?
It's simple. The moment the person dies, those who are to benefit, the wife, the spouse, and then the family, the family as well as the parents in their life. So the wife and children can be the applicants. They go to court, and when they apply, they must exhibit one, proof of death, either obituary or funeral, burial, to prove. Two, proof to the court that the man died in the jurisdiction of the court, and then also the man assets. So try to let the court know the assets involved and the value of the assets, and then these things are you apply. Then the court will interrogate the applicant to find out that those who are coming to be given the power of attorney are the ones who are supposed to. You know, you have a situation whereby a man can die and have about 3 or 4 children with 3 or 4 wives. One of the children of the one wife cannot go and take letter of administration. So the various wives' children should be represented. Yes, but they should not be more than 4.
Okay.
So when the court grants you the power to go and share, you sign an affidavit telling the court that you are going to share the property according to PND 111, and you come and account to the court. That's early. So anybody who goes to acquire any property or start intermeddling in the properties of somebody who has died without going to the court process, you are a criminal, and you can be arrested and prosecuted. The law says that you don't go not less than 3 years. So after the death of a person, don't rush and go and kick
people out.
The spouse out. It's a criminal offense. Anybody who goes and tries to kick the spouse off in the matrimonial home is a criminal offense. They should start reporting. No, if you don't have money, first report to the police station. When you're a wife, when you're a husband, and your wife or husband dies, and where you are staying, the family members start coming to threat you. Don't go and look for a lawyer. It's very expensive. Go to the nearest police station and make a formal complaint either to Waju or the police that I'm a widow or widower, and their family members have come and they want to eject me, quickly they will be arrested and prosecuted.
Thank you very much. Great legal advice here from Maurice Ampao. We're going back to our message board 055-556-1034. Thelma, what you got for us?
So it's like somebody is concerned that we are saying only the men will die, so because women too die. So humbly, I'm going to read this. What happens when the woman dies? Does the man own the property they have acquired during the marriage, or it goes to family of the woman? And they are clarifying that I am Ga and she is Ashanti.
Okay, go ahead. More? There are more
More?
messages? Yeah, give us
sure,
more.
I will. Can you make a will? I think we've read this.
No,
for
we haven't
you,
done that one
Richard,
yet. About,
and leave out the extended family. What about dating a lady and supporting her in school? I think this has come up, the taxi driver's issue, another form of it. Supporting her in school, later she dumped you to another man for marriage. Is it right to take her to court? Well, we are talking about wills. I don't see how this, but lawyer would respond. What if a woman also proposed marriage to me? She failed to marry me. Can I file a lawsuit against her? Because gender equality. It's good for the goose is good. And I hear a collective no from the women in the studio. Good morning. Can you register land or property in the name of your child and let him or her? I think a lawyer has spoken about that. There was a message. The wife now doesn't want to see the husband's family in their house. So we don't know the details because this is quite a bare statement. Good morning, please. Could both the wife and husband make a will on the same property in each other's names with the reason of not knowing who will die first? Ethel Aya is asking this from Bema Camp. Please would like to ask the lawyer if there is any amendment that if you are in a relationship, extended relationship, is that a thing? Back to you, Ka.
A couple of issues. Thank you very much, Thelma. I'll come back to you again. So women can die intestate?
Definitely. You know, when you talk of spouse, I'm talking a man and a woman.
Okay, yeah.
So the law does not discriminate.
Yeah.
So any time a woman so dies, the husband is entitled to the estate of the woman and the children.
Okay.
So it is just like that. A man can die, a woman can die. Just as the woman can inherit the man, the same way the man also can inherit.
Can you leave out your extended family in your will?
Yes, it's a choice. You can't. But if any of them go to court and prove that they are dependents, whilst you are alive, you were taking care of them. Like the mother and their the father, they can be given a reasonable provision of the estates.
Can couples do joint wills?
Yeah, definitely. Joint wills are permissible in law, and that one, what you do is that we call it mutual will. You decide that you do this will, and then you give the property to certain beneficiaries, and you sign together. It's allowed in law.
But isn't that risk also there that if you do if you do a joint will and one spouse arranges for the death of the other, what happens?
Arranges for the death
of the other person.
That intentionally or what?
Intentionally.
And you cannot take and have it. In law, you cannot benefit from your wrong. Therefore, the whole your interest will be declared null and void in law if they can prove that you commit a wrong and you want to benefit from the wrong.
Okay, great stuff. We've got a lot of messages here. This person who was saying that. I don't know why they just doesn't want to get married. After 6 months, then you said, what, automatic marriage? It doesn't work.
No matter how long you stay together, you cohabit together. Once you are not going through the process of marriage, you are still a concubine. And I have told you that concubine relationship is a risky relationship. Therefore, you can never be given the same privilege and rights as a woman or a man who is married.
Okay, the messages are coming again. Thelma is going to have to go to the board again shortly, but can you give us some examples, without naming names, of course, of really, really strange cases involved property sharing in your practice? Which ones have you really come through which you thought, wow, I never expected this?
The one is the one that happened, and it was decided by the Supreme Court. It was this guy who is a friend of mine. He met a girl at Kaswa, and then they entered into a relationship. He was building a 4-bedroom self-contained, and then he left to the UK, and then he started giving the girl money to complete the place. So the girl completed 2 rooms and moved in. And by that time, they've not gone through the marriage process. So the man got information that the girl is now cheating and is having an affair with some guy in the area. So the man came and decided that the lady should leave the house and it ends the concubine relationship. The lady says that no way, you cannot tell me to leave the house because I have interest. You send me the money and I put out the burden. 2, I've been in a relationship for you for around 5 years. Therefore, compensate and give me compensation. And at the end of the day, the matter went through up to the Supreme Court. And Justice Sophia at that time, being the Chief Justice, no, I think it's not Justice Sophia,
Georgina
Wood sat on that case. And then that's where they define what is a concubine relationship. And they said that concubine relationship does not turn into marriage. Therefore, the girl cannot claim any of the property. But what the girl will be entitled to is breach of promise to marry, because the man has stayed with the girl for 5 years and he has denied the girl opportunity
to marry somebody else.
Suitors. Therefore, they gave the girl, I think, 60 million at that time. It was about, I'm talking about 9 years ago. So they gave the girl 60 million, and that's 6,000 Ghana cedis as compensation.
For the 5 years?
Yes.
Wow. If she had produced receipts?
Now, if I produce receipt that he contributed, that one, please, you see, there is this notion, a perception that I'm not comfortable with, where women think that when there's a concubine relationship, they are giving more than the men. No, it's a relationship of equal. When we enter in a concubine relationship, the man at times provides. You see, men at times provides. They pay for this, they pay for that. Men that pays, and the woman also services. You see, most women service the men. And we know that sexual services can be quantified in law, in money, although it's illegal.
Really?
Oh, yes. When you go outside and everywhere, the women prostitutes are charging.
Okay, yeah.
Some are even charging dollars.
Yeah.
So the more you have sex with a woman, can be quantified in law. It's indirect service. So the women are also claiming that in the relationship, they also provide service. The man too also is like, okay, for it. So when the relationship comes to an end, never talk about compensation. Never. You go your separate way. But there are some women who come out to say that because it is only when there's proof of promise to marry. That's why when you are in a concubine relationship, no, there are some, listen to me, there are some relationship. You know, please, it's not every promise to marry that the law recognizes. Some of them are sweet talk. I meet you today, baby, I will marry you. It's just
sweet
rap.
Talk.
It's
sweet talk. Sweet talk.
At times you want to have you are in the mood with the girl and you want to have sex with the girl, and the girl will ask you, will you marry me? Do you think the man will say no? That man wants to have the thing in the heat, you say no. You say, oh baby, no problem. But let's say the neighbor will say. So when you talk, you say, oh no, it was in the heat. That kind of promise is no promise. You are talking about a promise where the man have taken steps to go and see your parents, or live with you for so many years, and everybody in the area. You know, there are some relationship. It's very, very interesting. I don't know whether you've done so before. I'm the
host.
We know some relationship. The two parties are not comfortable. So the girl comes to the house late, around maybe 10 p.m. and leave as early as 3 a.m. It's called awashia.
I see them when I'm coming to work.
I've done some before.
I see them when I'm coming to work.
It's very, very interesting. Awashia. That one, you go, you sneak in. If it's a compound house.
Nicodemously.
You do everything in the room. You wash, Salome. You wash, you urinate everything in the room. By 3 a.m.
You're gone.
Papa, you are gone.
Like a witch.
Yes. And when you go to some of the rural areas, our old ladies, that's kind of relationship they practice.
They do.
Old ladies, women. 10, 11, you see that Abrewano or Konimpraho. Then in the morning they come.
She's comes back.
Yes, that's very interesting. That kind of relationship, you realize that you are hiding the relationship.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's very difficult to have a proof. But there is that serious one where the woman boldly come to the house.
Everybody knows.
Anybody knows. They sleep together, they eat together, they bath together. And the lady in the morning wakes up and they sing. They sing confidently. I'm telling you before God and man. Therefore, in that relationship, you see that the people in the compound house, when the man is out there, and somebody comes looking for them. So they didn't war because they are living as man and wife, and they are living the relationship in such a way as if they are married. That is where first it was called this common law marriage.
Yes.
It's like you are living as man and wife. Yes. The law will hold you responsible. That is where the woman can go and sue you for breach of promise to marry.
So you've been warned by the lawyer. Let's go to the presenter who is by the board. 055-556-1034.
Some of the questions I'm beginning to fear for the lawyer, because now spirituality all come inside.
As long as
this one is saying,
sharing, we don't mind.
Kweku Kawuku from Kumasi, God richly bless you for your kind heart to educate us. Please, in a situation where after properties, the wife now juju your son, what will you do? This one is a proper Ghanaian question. Let me try and take a few more. Good morning. If a man hides properties from the family and he dies, how will the woman and the children know whether the man has a property and did a will for them? What if the lawyer and a witness are the only people who know about the property and the will, and they decide to keep it to themselves? Kweku is asking this question. Bernice from Teshi, send us your message again. I think you have the disappearing thing on. Please, my father died without leaving any will, and he all the 3 houses because her legal wife couldn't have children, so the children they want to sack the wife from the house. Inherits. I think children, so perhaps the man his marriage with this woman who was not able to give him a child on her own, and now they want to throw her out. So what's your response? Lawyer is a very good legal lecturer. Thank you for sending us. Read it, but it's disappeared. Mrs. Barnes, so a friend of mine is married traditionally to a man who is legally married to another woman in a different country. Is her traditional marriage recognized? And this is Boga wife and Ghana wife. Is it legal?
No, it's illegal.
Back to you,
the Ghana wife is illegal. Because if they have ordinance marriage, you cannot marry. You need to divorce the ordinance marriage before you can do any marriage.
Okay. We're done.
So that's the quick answer. Right. Bernice said, good morning. I want to ask that I have properties which is not a joint one. If my properties are being shared, will my husband receive some?
You will be dead by then. You wouldn't know.
No, I think when you have yourself acquired property, under Article 18, it can be exclusive to you. So the fact that you are married doesn't mean that the property is a matrimonial property. So you can decide to have an exclusive right over your property, which the court will recognize as such.
Okay.
And what about the one who had the wife, children outside the marriage, and the children trying to kick the wife out so that they can inherit?
No, you can't. Once the man dies, if it's a one house, both the children and the spouse owns and have interest in that house.
Even if the man left a will expressing that perhaps the children should inherit without the wife, is that something that the law
the man can do that. And the man may give reasons, but if the houses are 1 or 2, 3, the woman can go and ask for a reasonable provision of either the one should be given to her.
And does spirituality count when it comes to property sharing? Can you prove that someone has used spiritual means to convince someone to leave a property to a spouse or a child?
It's difficult for the Holy Spirit to come to the court and testify. Therefore, you will not have evidence.
On that note,
I will hand over back to you, Ka. For more messages when they come in, perhaps I'll be back to read.
We're wrapping up. Thank you very much, Thomas. It's difficult for the Holy Spirit. It doesn't work. We can't come to court. Hidden properties. How will you know if your spouse has hidden properties from you and the person passes on? You should engage the service of a nurse. Okay.
To find out,
investigative journalist.
Yes.
Or reporter.
Find out where does your father, your husband or your spouse goes normally. The friends. At times, get people to hang around with your husband's friends, and then some of the secrets will start coming. Yes.
Okay, great.
Before and during the marriage.
Okay.
During the funeral services,
yes.
they talk a lot.
You get the information.
You get information.
What's your final word you can give? This is our last engagement to people about property sharing under wills. What is the most important thing people should know?
My final word is that we are going. Heaven knows where we are going. We don't know when we will leave this world. Therefore, we must make sure that all our properties are shared responsibly, and also make sure that we put our house in order before we die.
It's always a pleasure. So Morris Kwabena Ampao from Heritage Law Firm educating us, informing us, and entertaining us all with interesting stories about property sharing under wills. If you want to catch a repeat of this show, it's tonight at 11 p.m. And of course, the stream is available on YouTube and on Facebook. Look for Ghana Broadcasting Corporation and watch it all over again. Share it with your friends. I'm going to hear, what kind of music do you like, man? I hear you're a good dancer.
I love gospel music.
You love gospel, eh? I don't know whether Tisco will put some gospel in the mix. But hey,
in the mix.
DJ Tisco International is going to take us into the weekend. Tisco, take it away.
Give me some gospel.
You want some gospel, eh? You want some good gospel, eh?
Yeah.
All righty.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. This has been GTV Breakfast. It's 4 minutes to 10. And keep watching Ghana Broadcasting Corporation for all our educative, entertaining, and informative programs. My name is Kafui Day. The women are not in the naughty corner, but I'm sure you'll see them at some point in time. They are there. So yeah, we've got some surprises also for you. So you stay. Don't go anywhere. See you next week. Have a good weekend. Tisco, take it away.
Foxy on the beach, do your grind. Are you crowd for weekend? I prepare for weekend. Are you ready for weekend? And you agree on my weekend? Tell him I hustle for my